Okay, just to follow up on my previous vid, I did a Google Scholar search on the citations of that paper, and I found a very fascinating paper on observing ghost entanglement. That cites this paper, and my claim from meditation research has in quantum biology is that the virtual photons had a one-half spin magnetic moment that basically was like the sole information charged in this like fifth dimension as like virtual reality. And the qigong master Yan Xin made the same claim that the healing was virtual information healing. And the first paper I cited was saying that this is equivalent to one-half spin fermions. In the non-commutative space-time, you have an inherent non-local virtual photons that then create fermions or electrons. So you're getting matter created through this magnetic moment of the one-half spin virtual photons. And so now we will take a look at this second paper that's making the same claim. It's saying that that there's so-called ghost modes where the charges are a byproduct of this non-commutative algebra that's non-local. So they're considered unobservable and therefore, quote, ghost variables that need to be removed. But they're arguing that, in fact, they should be considered real because they affect the charge because of the non-commutativity, even though they can't be directly detected um, by local means in relativistic experiments. So let's take a look at this paper. The Some have expressed dissatisfaction with the existence of ghost modes as they appear to be redundant, while others have argued that they are physical and they are necessary to have a fully local, relativistically compliant account of electromagnetism. Um, Naked charges cannot be treated as independent subsystems. Let me increase the screen here. Okay, so let's see. All right, so ghost entanglement. The description of ghost entanglement. The let's see. Scalar photons are considered virtual and undetectable, but they are necessary to give a local causal Lorentz covariant account. Um, when a charge is in a superposition of two different positions, they generate a set of coherent states, and the scalar modes of that field are entangled um, based on the scalar photons. So it's logarithmically divergent, and let me see. Okay, so oh, yeah, it's kind of wigging out my eyes here. I'm gonna make the screen a little smaller. There we go. Okay, so these states of scalar photons are considered virtual and undetectable, but that they are necessary. And I just read that. So The exact measure of entanglement does not matter. Here we provide a qualitative analysis, and that in principle it is measurable. So we reconstruct the relative phase, indirectly confirm entanglement. The use of reference allows one to measure only observables that commute, as is described in the Aronhoff-Bohm effect. Okay. We can obtain the off-diagonal element in the subspace. That's the non-commutative non-local. This element contains a pure phase and a real amplitude, which represents the entanglement with the scalar modes. So scalar modes should be considered real as the transverse ones, although they are non-local and linked to the charge. I'm kind of like translating some of this. Each charge is in a superposition. Okay, so measuring ghost entanglements. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. All right, going along. Mm, mm. Fake. All right. Oh, we're already at the conclusion. Okay, so gravitational entanglement, electromagnetic entanglement. So, okay, we have demonstrated we have discussed a possible experiment to detect this entanglement. The ghost modes of the gravitational field can mediate entanglement between two quantum probes. Gravitationally induced entanglement to detect the ghost modes. Analogy between the electromagnetic quantized field and linear quantum gravity. Ghost modes of the electromagnetic field lead to measurable entanglement between two charges. Ghost modes of electromagnetic field are relevant to explain the generation of the Aronoff-Bohm phase. The entanglement with the ghost modes is not observable. This could be because bare charges do not exist on their own, but need always to be dressed by the ghost modes of the field. Or because of some extra effect not taken into account. If entanglement is observable, okay, so okay. While formally they may be described by commuting operators, charges and fields do not exist independently of one another. Hence, the entanglement in question may be unobservable. According to this view, real charges would correspond not to the bare mathematical charges, but to the bare charges dressed with scalar photons. Um, the whole process of dressing is akin to mass renormalization. So this is exactly what Basil J. Hiley was claiming, is that the mass renormalization is actually a cover up of the non-commutativity of space-time. Do, do, do. Okay, quantum theory of electromagnetism allows charges to exist in superpositions. Um, in the temporal gauge, we can find some degree of entanglement. Because they can't be considered physical because they have to propagate at lower than the speed of light, but they would appear to generate a non-zero degree of entanglement. This suggests that detecting the entanglement would allow one to discriminate between Lorentz gauges and other gauges. The photon mass is non-zero. Yeah, this could imply, as some authors have argued, a Ronhop bomb effect mediated by massive photons. 2024. Have to check that out. The link. And could be related to the degree of entanglement with the charge. That's exactly what I've been talking about. It's the magnetic moment of the virtual photons. Do. One could speculate a full quantum theory of spacetime. All right, so there we go. So they're linking this paper that says Ronhop-Bohm effect is due to massive photons. I'm just going to search this for virtual, see what it says. Virtual photons may play an essential role. So there we go. This is another example corroborating. Hey, how's it going? How you doing down south, southeast? Okay, we are reading our second paper, virtual photons. This is more corroboration of my claim. Basically, I'm making claims from my meditation experience and then find physics is corroborating my claims. Virtual photons. Let's see. Okay. Virtual photons drastically affect the Aharonov-Bohm effect. Um, each mode of virtual photons has a different effective mass. Um, the finite effective mass of virtual photons is created by confining the vacuum between two ideal conducting plates. Consequently, the effective interaction between charge and flux becomes short range, and so does the Aharonov-Bohm effect. While this result is a manifestation of the modified spectrum of virtual photons, it is also possible to describe the effect as a result of induced charges on the conducting plates. Okay, so the question remains about the quote reality of virtual photons. It seems very unlikely to find a way to demonstrate the reality of virtual photons, although it should be indirect in a real experiment that cannot be described without them. Okay, so all right, now we're gonna search this for magnetic. Okay, magnetic flux. The interaction between charge and magnetic flux is mediated by massive virtual photons. See? Um, okay, so a distant magnetic flux is not associated with an instantaneous and non-local action, but results from the exchange of virtual photons. Wow, that's fascinating right there. Okay. In other words, QED gets rid of the action at a distance um, inherent to the conventional approach to the Aronoff-Bohm effect. Okay. The magnetic flux. Okay, I just read that. That's interesting. So, um, okay, okay. Now let's search it for a moment. Nope, not in there. All right. Anyway, is Drumpf a time traveler? Oh, yeah. Um, why would he say that? I don't know. He's a child rapist. Drumpf is a child rapist. So, okay, yeah. Anyway, this is a fascinating paper. So you have here. I'm going to quote the paper in the chat. The interaction between charge and magnetic flux is mediated by massive virtual photons. So the question is massive virtual photons have a magnetic moment. I'm confusing AI. That's a good sign when you can confuse AI. Yes, massive virtual photons possess a magnetic moment. There you go. This is it. Okay. Whoops. Massive virtual photons. Well, yeah, you could call him a very low frequency time traveler. The secret to defense against child rape is just to flex the anal sphincter. Like always flex the anal sphincter. You can also do exorcisms. I rely on leg presses for exorcisms. I do like 600-pound leg presses or something. I don't know what they are. It works. It's you gotta like really use like serious muscle to do that low frequency exorcism because it's like the virtual photon, the magnetic moment of the virtual photon gets like reversed in your lower body. It's like a psychic vampire sucking off your energy and turn it into ejaculation addiction. That's what these psychic vampires are all about. They're just sucking off people's energy for their own, materialistic. Netflix had a new documentary on that. Um, Mormon child rape cult where the guy he like he claimed to be giving, like, Bible classes, and it just turned into, like, nonstop, child rape, and it's like that's exactly what Epstein was doing. It's like, well, how can they do that? Because they're literally sucking off the, Jing energy and then using it for ejaculation, and that's what Drumpf does as a on a society level. Like, that's why the, like, white women, they go gaga over Trump. They're obsessed with Trump, like, "Oh, I got it," they giggle and laugh at him and they have to hear him, they're it's an addiction because 'cause they're getting that low frequency energy is getting activated, but they don't realize that they're being fed off of their that he's like a parasite, sucking off their energy so he can have his missile envy, ejaculation of missile envy. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Like, is he just gonna nuke the whole planet so he can be remembered somehow in a post-apocalyptic, fantasy world, virtual fantasy world? Very possibly. That's what happens when you don't confront the, child rape, problem that's, patriarchy is based on, whole cultures of pederasty, like, basically, they say, like, the Republicans are about pederasty, and then the, Democrats are targeting the girls, and, which is a terrible thing to say, but it's kinda like, that's sort of what's been coming out for the people who research this stuff. Oh, who says that? Nick Bryant. He's been saying that's the real differentiation of the 2 parties on the elite level. Anyway, I will end the stream here. Thanks for participating.